Welcome to Hickory Street Podcast. This is Michael Zamora here with Freemoor. Thanks for coming in and thanks for making the drive all the way out from Dallas. That was, I bet that was an experience, especially this time of day.
Let's just say that I did a lot of thinking. But thanks for having me, brother.
Of course, yes. So, I just wanted to ask you just to kind of give a quick little introduction.
Okay.
Where you're from, when you moved to Dallas, how long you plan on staying here,
Okay.
and when you sort of started music, and whenever this sort of became a serious thing for you.
Okay. Well, I'll go backwards. I've been in and out of Dallas for the last year and a half. I would say it's on a personal level, dealing with family. Uh, I kind of followed the universe. My parents needed me, so I'm here for them as much as I can do. And I spent a lot of time in San Antonio growing up, as I have a lot of family in San Antonio, but I don't have much history in Dallas, and I'm discovering Dallas and trying to make my way around. I'm not quite sure I'm going to stay, but I'd like to leave a mark or an impression, depending on how long I stay. But it'd be nice to infiltrate and meet some good people.
Mm.
As far as how long I've been doing this, I've been, I guess you could say, getting in trouble since high school. I mean, writing songs and beating up mom's pots and pans and what have you. I had a choice growing up between sports, music, because I was excelling in both. And I would say that through, throughout that process of doing sports and working, also getting in trouble and trying all kind of, I've done all kind of, side jobs. It always led me back to music. So in the early 2000s, I was supporting another artist. Mid, I would say, yeah, early 2000s, an artist who was on Interscope, and also I
Oh,
was
wow.
writing for another artist who is independent now, Vin Ray. I've always been known as a weaponry man in Los Angeles. So if you're in LA, okay, you mention my name. Okay, he's the guy that does all the different and writing. Going solo, I would say I really stepped in front in 2014 to say I'm a solo artist now.
Mm.
Though I, mind you, I did an R&B record in 2008 and 9. I was living in Budapest, so I was an
That
R&B
sounds like fun.
R&B artist, and the kind of R&B I was doing was live instrumentation, like the funk and the whole slamming thing. And then I said, oh, I'm going back to America to shop this. Um, then I don't know why, man. I just started saying I'm feeling like an alternative person, alternative soul. So
Mm.
with solo, like as far as alternative, what I'm digging now since 2014, 15 on it.
Wow, so that was quite a transition, like from that style of music to what you're doing now. I mean, because listening to the stuff you sent me, it's great, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Listen to the stuff you sent me, definitely doesn't have like any that style of music that. But I mean, man, recording in Budapest must have been so much fun. As soon as you said that, that's exactly what I thought. Like, I just, man, I would have had so much
I
fun.
will say this: I did stay focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of distractions. I will say that the connection to Budapest for me hits home because I worked with a young man, a phenomenal co-producer and producer named Arnold V. He's still there now. Arnold, if you're listening to me, much respect to you. Arnold is like a prodigy. I mean, this
Mm.
guy plays, all the instruments. He's a master basses, keyboards, guitar. And I've told this story before how he approached me. Hey, man, I heard you recording in there. He's listening in. He saw me in the music store, and he brought the heat. And I've been so he worked on the R&B material with me, and then as I transitioned to alternative, he was still along with me, and we
Mm.
recorded the tracks.
What was his name again?
Arnold
Arnold.
Vig,
Arnold
Arnold
Vig.
V,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Vigh,
Oh,
and
okay.
he's with Silver Hill studios in Budapest. Shout out to Silver Hill and everybody. You know who you are. And we took those tracks as far as we could take them, and then I went to the next level beyond that as far as me moving around. It's another story. So just to say that. One note, there's a particular track on the album. It's called Confess, which is the latest release.
Yes. Okay.
That initially was an R&B song. Um, I would say the words mean something now, but the idea of the song was done back in 2009 and 2008.
Wow. So that's a
So
really
if
old
you
song.
if you hear the
Huh.
old versions, it's been done 3 times, and I had two other producers who submitted like their version of it from Italy, and we kept some elements, but we didn't use the whole thing. But
Mm.
the final version was co-produced. No, you know what? He's gonna kill me. Sorry, man. Was produced by my man Adrian Andros, who's in Toronto, who I'm working with now. So everything you're hearing now, he did the finishing icing on it. Adrian
Oh.
is absolutely phenomenal, and Adrian is he's the guy I'm working with now. He's the MD, and he's my brother, and just like Arnold. He has that qualities, and our respect to both of them. But Adrian really took Confess to the Limits, Alive, all the finishing tracks you're hearing now. He put the bread and put the meat and potatoes on it.
Mm.
And so yeah, shout out to Adrian, man.
Wow. Well, it sounds great.
Thank you,
Very
brother.
good quality stuff.
Thank you.
I'm excited for. It hasn't been completely released yet, has it?
No, we're doing singles. I believe in April we're gonna go ahead and just release the entire EP at that point because
Okay.
each song, each single independently, you have to do kind of like a campaign, and I'm a little bit
Mm.
feeling. Let's just go ahead and just give it to them. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's tons of people that are just doing that now. They're not
Yeah.
doing any sort of like, you know, campaign towards it. They just put it out and that's it. I actually had one of my friends call me the other day and
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I originally released this in like 2012 or whatever, but
Yes.
I'm just gonna put it out there now. Like I don't even,
Yeah,
I don't even feel."
I've had so much advice on that. I remember, I don't want to mention any names, but there's a real prominent musical genius. This guy's an icon, and he said, "Man, you got to put the album out right now." In his voice, I'm like, okay. But then we were saying do singles because you want to. Each song is separate from the other in the sense of you want that campaign, but also it's a matter of how many people can you reach with that campaign.
Hmm. That's always very tricky because you don't know. I mean, targeting people based off of their interest works pretty well,
Yes.
but it's kind of inconsistent.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get people engaging, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't.
It just it's just one of those things.
Yeah. But thank you again for your words about the album. I appreciate that.
Oh yes, of course. So you mentioned earlier that you had a show in Denton coming up, right?
Yes, actually, it's going to be in Deep Ellum.
Deep Ellum, that's right.
Yes, Deep Ellum,
that was
Dallas. It's going to be at the Art Company, January 29th, 6 p.m. The Deep Ellum Art Company.
yes. Okay. Now I remember.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay, man. Bridging the gap, as they say. And shout out to them too for adding me on to the performance list.
Yeah, I love Deep Ellum Art Company. It's a really nice, comfortable area, and they have all sorts of events there. Like they have people coming in and giving art classes, and
Yeah.
they have I think they even had like yoga or something there. Like there's a yoga.
That's what
team
interests
that
me, the
meets during
fact
the
that
week and stuff.
they have diversity in the arts, and that is what really made me feel about the venue because people like as you mentioned, there's all variables, there's all type of things happening there. So therefore, you're gonna get an eclectic crowd, like a diverse crowd. So we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, it was nice. That it was our band played there a while back, I think sometime this summer, and we played like on a weekday. It was like a Wednesday or
I'm
Thursday
playing Wednesday.
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
This is
Okay.
It's a lot of as I'll send you it's all posted the flyer, but a lot of bands, a lot of groups are playing that night.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're doing it all over the U.S. This organization.
Oh, so you're going? So you're?
I told them I have an interest in playing further shows. They were very nice to me because not having a following in Dallas, a lot of venues told me, well, we like your material, but you know how it is today. So you have to develop a following. Well, how do you develop a following unless you're allowed to play? So and with respect, but this organization said, well, we know that, so we're going to allow you to play. Do put your band together, do what you can, and if you do well on this particular performance, then we'd like to ask you to come to the next. So that I like, they giving me a chance to perform, even though I don't have a big following here, or no following at all.
Oh, wow.
So I like these guys.
Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
And that's really big. I mean, you really need to just take any opportunity that there is being a musician that
Yes.
just works with your schedule, that seems like it would be a positive thing for you and like a move in the right direction. And so
Absolutely.
just taking those opportunities is a big thing for any musician, just because I feel like I feel like sometimes opportunities get missed because of and if it's a scheduling thing, it's like you can't do anything about that.
Sure.
Um, but there's a lot of opportunities that people just don't really think of, and just like forming relationships is a big thing.
That's a
Just,
big thing.
just being a good communicator, being friendly, and if they like what you're doing, then great. If they're into it, if not, then it's just music is subjective.
It's an experience. It is.
Yeah, and,
It
and
is.
so it just really depends on the listener and like what the listener likes. So not everybody likes to listen to everything.
That's true.
That,
I'm
I
one
mean,
of them. So don't ask me who. Just kidding. But yes, I dig that, brother.
Cool. That actually leads me to my next question. What are some of the artists that you actually listen to? What do you What are you into?
I love the Unknown Orchestra.
Mm.
They're gonna get mad at me. The Unknown Mortal Orchestra. They're absolutely ahead of their time.
Whoa, hold on. Say that name again.
The Unknown Mortal Orchestra. They
The
are.
Unknown Mortal Orchestra.
You've got to. They
Okay.
are absolutely
That's a cool name.
kicking. I guess I get to tell you. I didn't say the word. I like Little Dragon. Which Little Dragon is one of my favorite bands of all time. They are hot. I like to work with her, lead singer.
I've never heard of her.
That band, these people. I will tell you, if you go see Little Dragon, you're talking 100,000 people. I mean, they're.
Wow.
She's one of the best singers on the planet.
Okay,
And
I'll
the
have to
band's
check
very
them out.
unique.
Little Dragon.
they're-
I'll remember that one.
they're-
The other one's a long name.
I'm gonna write this. They are just out of this world. I'm digging Moore out of Canada. He's on tour right now, opening up for Daniel Caesar,
Mm.
and he's new. I like him. Now, as far as like growing up and who's my, well, no one stands before Prince. So like
Oh,
when you
yeah.
mentioned, it stops there. There's nothing else to say. Prince,
Yeah.
Bowie, Queen, Electric Light Orchestra, and Nikki Costa.
Mm.
So I'm all over the place, man. My mom, I didn't have a chance, man. She's got me listening to, of course, in Josephine Baker, maybe Josephine Baker.
Hmm.
So that's who I dig.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds great, man.
And
All those
Lenny
artists.
Lenny Kravitz, Seal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was hearing a little bit of Lenny Kravitz in your sound.
Thank you.
It's not like overbearing or anything, but I could feel that maybe you were into him.
I get that a lot. It's so funny so I learned an easy way to answer this question. So who do you sound like? I'm walking in London or something. And before I just say, well, because I get many, many different responses to that. So I said, well, put it this way. You might, if you listen to Lenny, that you might see some similarities. And I love Lenny. I respect Lenny. He's awesome. And just to even hear my music to be mentioned in the same area of his material, I'm very honored and appreciative.
Yeah, he's a great guitar player.
He's bad. Yeah, he's bad.
I mean, honestly, I feel like his biggest album is sort of something that like just kind of got lost in what music has progressed to, but it's a good album. Like if you listen to it all the way through, those are great songs.
And which album are you referring to? The first one?
The one with "Are You Gonna Come My Way?"
Oh, wait, I have them all. So yeah,
Oh,
oh yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. Heaven Help and Believe in Yourself and
Yeah,
all that stuff. I like his first material as well too. sitting on top of the world and Freedom Train, and let's just say this, and we both know if Prince asks you to go on stage with him, then you have to be somebody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that guy. I
I
mean,
mean,
because
if
Prince,
you're
Prince was incredible. Like nobody's gonna touch Prince ever.
no, no, no. And
You know.
imagine having to play guitar next to Prince. So that tells you who Lenny Kravitz is, and also Lenny Kravitz, his spirit and his message around the world is positive, and he has my respect.
Definitely. And you know what? That's something that's sort of been lost, or not. Well, not really lost. Well, sort of lost in rock music now. Like, there's not too many songs that like rock artists put out that are really that positive. But his songs were positive and they were fun.
Always good messages.
They were fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Whenever I learned started to learn a couple.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I learned one or two of maybe some parts of his songs. Whenever I was starting to learn how to play guitar, and they're also fun to play. So,
Yeah. Well, he's a songwriter. I mean,
yeah.
This ain't over till it's over. I mean, if you think about it, that song we played it right now, you would think it was just coming out right now because it's so timeless.
Mm-hmm.
With all the cellos, dun, 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 So Lenny's a strong songwriter. He's known for the hooks.
Oh yeah.
You know his hooks. Automatically, you're going.
But they're not. But they're not like annoying hooks either.
No.
They're solid. They're just solid.
No, I like him. And also what I love about Lenny, and I think we're similar in this, is that Lenny knows that, and like Bowie and Prince, and like fashion and music go together.
Mm-hmm.
And Lenny's bass player, who worked with Bowie for many years, she's absolutely just. And forgive me if I'm not going to address her by her first name. She's just off. She's off the charts.
Really?
Yeah, she's amazing. You play with David Bowie, you go from there to Prince, to Lenny, and she's just amazing. And they looked great on stage. You go to Lenny's show, or they look, you're fantasizing like, whoa, they bring the heat. So. Yeah.
So you've seen him live? I've never.
I've been to one of his shows.
I've
been to one of his shows, and it was amazing. It didn't go the full scale. He kind of got short. This was in Germany. He kind of cut it a little short. But yeah, he's one of the guys. I mean, but when you say Prince, that's my heart.
And what was so? I mean, just because you mentioned Prince, what was so fascinating to me about Prince is that not only was he just really good about getting a good melody stuck in your head,
yes,
but he was also very experimental with his music. He tried a lot of different things. He wrote some songs that were real spacey and kind of out there, and
ahead of their time.
Definitely. I mean, he really pushed the limits.
I mean, he's, as we both know, that unfortunately that he passed away, that there's so many songs in the vault. So those songs have been there for years. I mean, he wrote 1999 when that was back in the 80s. And not to mention, people don't realize, if you listen to his For You album, his first two albums, he did every instrument, he's done all, of course, by himself. It's ahead of its time because he's a master on each instrument. Not just play it, but master.
Yeah.
And I like what Eric Clapton said recently, because after Prince did the guitar solo on My Guitar Gently Weeps on that on YouTube. Remember, he's on YouTube and he's soloing.
Yeah.
They asked Eric Clapton, how does it feel to be known as the finest guitarist ever in the world? And then Eric Clapton said, see him. That's the finest guitar player ever lived. About Prince. And he worked with, think about it, he was working with Jimmy.
Yeah, that's saying something.
I mean, that's him.
Whenever Eric Clapton points to Prince and says,
that's him. He's the great ever. And I do know that, and I know we're getting off track, but I would just say, just as a musician to musician, is that Jimi Hendrix unfortunately left, so we don't know where it would have went, because he was already great. Yeah. So where does it go? And then Prince got cut short, but then he was able to to show you. So I mean, I don't like competition. I'm just saying they both top two, like, as far as I'm concerned, that ever picked up a guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say for me personally, like Jimi Hendrix, I don't think I think he's the most revolutionary
Right.
guitar player.
Influential, revolutionary. Yes,
Yes.
I would say that.
But he was not only just influential, but he was also just revolutionary
Sure.
with his attitude, like
Yeah.
towards the media and just, I mean, just everything about him. He was just,
Arriving in London, man, and I heard the story 'cause I lived in London, so I was hearing all kind of, it's just like you could feel the mystique,
yeah,
and
yeah.
man, some crazy, not crazy, but amazing stories. And once again, Eric Clapton, if he says something about that, he knows because he's one of the greatest guitar players too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I covered Cream, "Sunshine of Your Love."
Oh, that's a great
That was my
song.
first release.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, much respect to Cream.
So you're a Cream fan then too, obviously.
That's why I did
right?
that song. I hope you guys don't mind, Mr. Clapton.
No, those are timeless songs, man.
Thank you.
So that's great. Well, um, we kind of talked about it a little bit, I think. But how do you like to approach songwriting? I kind of got a key into what you like just sort of by listening to you talk about your favorite artists and what they do. And but what is your approach to it? Do you like to hold on to material for a long time and kind of shape it, or do you just sort of just kind of write little pieces of stuff, or how do you approach it?
To be honest, I don't think I have a particular recipe. I will say that every song that's on this particular album based on true stories. So I would say, okay, each song is based upon something that happened to me, something that I saw, or that I'm interested in. So it's kind of like just bring it in. My strong suit's writing lyrics. So
Okay.
I can be walking down the street. I wrote Alive just walking down the street in Germany. And the first thing I kept saying, because I was just thinking about, here I am in Berlin. I don't know anyone, and I'm walking around, and I can't even communicate with people barely because people, they're nice, but they don't know me. So I'm just a new face. And I kept walking. You lost your mind. You lost your mind. So then, and then started just writing a song. So by the time I walked from the flat over to the studio, I walked in the door and said, guys, I have a new one. I'm like, what? I have a new one. Just wrote it right now. How's it go? I don't know yet, but I have a new one. So the way I write, I approach is basically take an experience, write about it, and then I'll pick up an instrument and just kind of like write the melody. But the lyrics are already, I hum it in my, of course I'm humming down the street too. People think I'm psychotic.
Melody first.
Yeah, I'm humming.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there right there humming. And I think that's probably my approach is just at any given time, even on this phone now, I already have the second album all based upon me humming into the phone. And then from that point, title, and then I tell you the story of that title along with the melodies. That's how I approach it.
Okay, that's a really cool approach.
It's
Especially
written before any instrumental. It's already written before, you're playing it in your mind.
Right.
Before we go into the studio.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was actually gonna say because you also play instruments, right?
Yes, I do.
So that's sort of unique. I find pretty unique is that someone that plays instruments actually creates melodies first and then shapes the song around the melody.
First.
That would be a challenge for me. I should try that just like on my own time, just to kind of push myself to do something different. That's a really cool technique.
I had to learn what a melody was because I thought the bass guitar was the melody because I love playing at a drum, whatever I'm doing. And then a friend of mine, Demi Sloan, who's a prolific songwriter, he goes, what's the melody? I said, well, he goes, it can mean the difference between dollars and cents. He goes, so I was showing, he goes, no, that's not it. And then he just showed me, he says, sing it. I started singing the hook. He goes, that's your melody right there. You're doing the melody leading it. And I say, oh man, I didn't know that. He goes, well, you writing all these songs, but you didn't even know that was a melody. So that was something, even though I'm writing songs, I wrote the R&B song, the whole R&B album, which those songs are priceless. And they're going to get redone, just updating them. But I didn't know what the melodies were out of 13 strong songs. He just showed me, So I didn't know what quite to say. I thought, he goes,
you just kind of opened up your world.
Yeah.
Huh? It was just like, whoa,
I mean, 13
I
songs, and I couldn't tell him. I kept saying, he goes, that's not the melody. So melody, I got it. So I got it. So that's my process to answer the question.
Wow, that's a really cool process. So you're and it kind of makes sense listening to your music that you would be a very lyricist heavy person. I really like the lyrics to a few of your songs,
Thank you.
actually. My favorite song of yours is If, which I'm going to put at the end of the
I knew you were
podcast.
gonna say that. I don't know why, but before you said that, I knew it's bittersweet, and a little bit about that song. There's a story behind it. Obviously, it's something that that could happen in real life. So the lyrics were already there. I just hadn't put them on the song.
And I was going to say that song is very positive, too. There's definitely a positive element
Yeah, it's a
in
message, and whoever's listening to this and experience that message, I think I'm saying, man, I'll put it to you this way. Some people are not ready to receive something that might enhance their life, and they don't have to, but it's not that they don't want to, they're not ready to. That's why I was saying if. And, you know, if you could open up, then you can receive this. Not just music, and a lot of things that can
there's
enhance
things
it.
in your life. Yeah.
Period. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to kind of like open up a little bit. And if you're not ready, then fine, we move on. But it still remains. So that was pretty deep, deep within myself to write that song. I
Mm.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, of course. And that's a great message, too, because I think there's a lot of people who are just sort of asking themselves right now, what if in this life,
That's the
And,
best
and,
analogy you just said. They ask themselves, what if?
and I think that we need to sort of move forward and just do,
Yeah.
just make a decision and do something.
Where you don't say, oh, because I do that too. I say if a lot, but yeah, but thank you for the respect of
Yeah,
that,
no,
that
great
song.
message, man.
It'll be live next week on that song.
All right, cool. So you you enjoying your time out here in Dallas? How much longer do you think you might be out here? Because you said, where was your last place of residence before you moved here?
I was overseas and I was in the UK.
So, okay,
So
you
I
were in
came
the
from
UK.
the UK.
So you were in Germany, went to the UK, and
Yes,
then
I was
okay,
trying to launch in the UK and I got close to it, and then I had some representation in the UK, and amazing gentleman who was managing me, but it didn't go the way that he and I wanted it to go. So um, you know I went independent, and I had some advice for people who are interested in me, and they've been very supportive of me. And they said, just go independent, don't leave, try to make it work independently. And I did the best I can with a lot of help. And you know who you are out there. I love you all, each and every one of you. You have my deepest respect. And if you're listening, I just want to say bravo. And I will never forget your kindness to each and every one of you who stood next to me at a very changing point of my time in the UK. That was the higher learning of music business, of independence, of how to do things in a way to stand above the others, and just the UK they know how to break an artist, and I had intentions of going back. I will go back, but the UK was probably the greatest learning I've ever had as a music artist.
wow, really?
Yeah, I hated to leave, and uh, walking around the streets of London, and also being in Nottingham and Leicester, all these places, and being in Manchester, and all these places where Duran was there, and Lenny was there, Macy Gray had to launch her Terence Trent D'Arby, Anastasia, Janet has a home, all the history. You're walking down the streets where these people stood, and all these famous artists, and I'm like, I'm actually arrived, but I'll go back. As a matter of fact, one of my mates, his name is Pete Thompson. Hey, Pete. He's from the UK. He's British bloke. He lives out past the airport here. I was introduced to him by another British friend of mine, and he played drums for Robert Plant when Robert Plant went solo. So he's Robert
Wow.
Plant's drummer, and I didn't know he was here. Introduced, went to his home. I recorded a lot of material there as well that you're hearing now,
Mm.
And Pete is an amazing producer, writer, drummer, mainly drummer. I mean, I don't know. I think he's a vocalist. I mean, he's badass, and he's actually here, and he is a legendary gentleman.
Mm.
And we talk up. So yeah,
What was his name?
Pete Thompson.
Pete
He's
Thompson.
on my Facebook page.
Oh wow.
His studios are here. Of course, his studios are public. And as a matter of fact, I will give a shout out because obviously, if I'm going to mention his name, and his studios are simply amazing. And I'll give
That's
a shout
really
out.
impressive. I mean, I could imagine how that would be a learning experience.
Texas,
for you.
he runs Texas Central Productions. And if you anyone listening to this, reach out to Pete Thompson at Texas Central Productions. Your recordings will be absolutely superb.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, that's. I mean, the quality of the recordings were great. That's something that I was very impressed with.
well, and that's just and that part mixing and mastering stems from my man in Toronto.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I laid some tracks down here, but Adrian Andros, yeah, I needn't tell you. Yeah, he did the finishing. Arnie did the other versions, great mixing mastering, and then the new as we did some different elements. The last engineering mixing mastering, Adrian.
Hmm.
Yeah, but thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, what was like out of all the concerts you've ever been to in your
Mhm.
life? Do you have one that like sort of sticks out to you? One that you just like, oh my gosh, that was an amazing concert or anything?
It was, of course, Prince.
Prince. Oh, you saw Prince live?
Oh, I've seen him many times.
When do you remember the first time you saw him?
Yeah, I remember the first time he came out with. What was interesting, first time I saw him, he opened up with 1999, and it was so cool that there was somebody on the stage dressed like Prince, and they were standing there talking, and then all of a sudden that particular person went down into the stage. Went down as the other side came up. It's the same person. And Prince just broke out. So actually, they had some. I don't know how they did. Well, of course, they had someone
Dressed up like him.
Yeah,
It's
it blew
like,
me away because we were all focused on one side.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I also seen Prince playing the bass, sitting on a stool backstage for another band, The Time. And The Time bass player were not able to be there, and Prince played their set. But I saw him on the side of the stage. I said that's him. He had a trench coat on with his back to the audience, and he's behind the curtain playing all the bass lines. I mean, of course, because
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
But
So you
Prince
got to
was a
see
great-
him play in another band too.
yeah, to see him behind stage, and he's the headliner. It's his show, but he had to go and do what he had to do. And it's like he's sipping on something, just
not turning around.
smoking. But that was my best show I've ever seen. I loved to see, I also liked Ozzy live. Ozzy was
You
amazing.
saw Ozzy live? I bet that was pretty
yeah.
wild.
Oh, yeah. Ozzy was awesome.
How long ago was that?
Ozzy was like in the late 90s. I tell you another person who blew me away live. Like people that like you hear the record, but then you say, "Oh, I want to see them live." Pink blew me away.
You know what? I met a girl the other day at a basketball game. I was like sitting next to just some random people
Yeah.
and just having a conversation, and they saw Pink whenever she came to American Airlines, and she
Okay.
was explaining like she had this whole setup where she went from one side of the auditorium
yeah.
to the other one.
Yeah.
I bet that was cool.
That probably because she started off in R&B as well, and she worked with LaFace, and she had those two hits. There You Go, another song, and she's R&B singer, and then she got hits. Then she just said, "I'm going alternative." But then when she would alternative, I'm like, I wonder, can she really sing like that? And I saw her live. I was like, you've got to be kidding. I mean,
Just incredible. Yeah, I imagine.
I said, okay. I was convinced as walking out the auditorium.
You have to have so much respect for someone who can go into a big venue and then blow it away.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
It blew me away. Yes, I've seen so many kinds of shows. I mean, not even the big arena shows, but just being in San Francisco and going to like a lot of jazz cabarets, and I take all these elements. I mean, even street performers, they blow me away because I have one young lady who sung background for me, and I met her while she was singing in London. I mean, in Leicester, and Lydia, shout out to you. She's just amazing. But yet, I don't care where I go. If I feel the music, it doesn't have to be a big giant venue. I just love being around talented people who inspire me.
Yeah. And that's something that happens a lot here in Denton, but also even in Dallas. Like go down Dallas,
Sure.
You can see some awesome street performances.
Yes.
And I really enjoy just the very personal aspect of just walking down the street and having someone there playing music, and because if you're in a bad mood or something, it sort of lifts your mood sometimes.
It does.
And
you
that's
see
really
that they're out there. Maybe they had a bad day, and they're out there bringing you joy.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
really powerful. Like even on a small level like that, like
I
it
mean,
makes a big difference.
and it's harder to play amongst 5 or 6 people right in your face, surrounding you, as a big auditorium. You can't really. The images are like almost like just like silhouettes. Mm-hmm. So at least for myself, I can perform like a lot of people in front, but of course I get a little bit like, oh, guys,
It's a little nerve wracking.
Yeah, it's like right in my face. I want to sit over here like, can you back up a little bit? Yeah. So that's. But as far as Dallas, considering the circumstances and I'd say that the universe brought me here, I've met some amazing musicians who are going to perform for me next Wednesday. They've been very supportive, encouraging, and kind of lift me up, considering that getting close to the show, we hadn't solidified how I was going to go and who was going to be part of the band. Finding musicians was not an easy thing.
Never is.
Never. It's a spread out thing, and they explained to me very kindly, like, I know how you feel, and we want to show you our hospitality by coming on board with you to do this show. And we also, I believe that, the music being, favorable to them doesn't hurt either. They like the music.
Yeah. That's really important. They got to like what you're playing.
They liked it. Yeah. So we're joining up. We're going to perform next Wednesday. And then from that point, as long as I'm in Dallas, I will continue to network, to meet people, try to perform, and also launch. I think not use the word launch. Bring people attention to my lifestyle, which is Free to Do More, and all those things are on my Instagram and Facebook. People know that I'm the Free to Do More guy who has a lifestyle to empower. I want people to empower themselves. And
do you mind explaining that a little?
Sure,
bit?
Yeah. And I'll do it briefly because I'm just now coming into my own on how to explain it. Because if you're talking to business people, they want more detail and more, like more curt. With me, I'll be very lax about it. It's just, I'm Freemoor, and people would say always about me, this guy's always, saying what he can do, like the impossible and this, and he's not going to do this. And I said, man, I live free to do more. And then they said, yeah, Freemoor lives free to do more. It makes sense. And then my uncle Myron, who, shout out, brother, love you, man. He said the same thing. And I said, well, take a real deep look at who you are, because I felt like I've been waking up all these years just existing but not living. And I don't know about anybody else out there. I don't want to live like that. And well, I can't, because I finally realized, after all the mistakes and all the runarounds and me complaining and being disappointed and having expectations, but the expectations need to be on myself, because I thought, okay, if you're trying hard, but really let's just be honest, I wasn't trying hard enough. And then when this door was closed, do you just accept it, or do you try the other door? See, questioning myself, so I said, you've got to live free to do more. Step out your structure, stop having limits, stop boo-hooing, feeling sorry for yourself. And then it made me feel powerful, where I'm saying, okay, if I'm doing this, you're doing this. And when I would travel other country, they would say, so you just left America with no guarantees and took a risk. Yeah, exactly. They're like, what? I'm serious. I had one guy, he thought I was an alien. He's just staring at me. but you don't have a mortgage. You, you don't have a wife and family. I'm like, I know, but do I have to? Like, my life is music, and
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
comes along. This is my journey, man. And so I think people around me know what they're gonna get. And then recently, the last 3 4 years, people have, people say, man, this is something. This is kind of like your lifestyle. So I say, you know what? Let me share. If you see this in me, let me share the way I feel with people and try to empower them. So we live. People around me, we live free to do more. We are going to be launching we say the lifestyle to the public. It's going to be in forms of merch, fashion line, lifestyle products, and also events and some other surprises.
hmm.
And if you want to know where it leads to, just stay close, stay tuned. But that is my credo that I live by, and I believe that I've finally found myself.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably something that has happened to a lot of people in their life. I mean, not everybody can. I'm definitely one of those people. I just don't feel like I can live a very conventional life for the most part. I feel like I'm always gonna be wanting wanting to do more,
Yeah.
and I'm a very like goal oriented person, and,
Yes.
and I feel like for people that have a lot of goals and work towards them on a daily basis
Mm.
like that. I think that it's important to just sort of remind yourself, you know what, not everybody's gonna have the normal 9 to 5 job and be happy, because
Yeah.
that's just definitely something I struggle with. I just that's not what I want to do the rest of my life, and I think a lot of people are sort of waking up to that too, just around this time, just taking more risks, saying, you know what, I don't know where this is going to go, but you're right, you only have one life to live, so why not just go for
I would
it?
say this too to add to your comment. So one thing that I found, because people who do, like my father, worked very hard, and I appreciate everything he's done, and I respect everyone who's at the hospitals working, and whatever you're doing, 9 to 5, 10 hours, 12 hours. If you're a business, no matter what walks of life you're doing, I think I'm saying too is, if you have an aspiration or you want to try something, you're not locked into one thing to do. You're free now to explore any avenue you want. Il, Il, I know I'm gonna chop his name up. I love this guy. He's from London, England. The actor Idris. Idris.
That doesn't sound
Yeah, I
familiar to me.
know.
I'm sorry.
And
Over my
Idris,
head.
no disrespect to you, but he said the same thing, because people were telling him, "But don't try this. Don't." You could be 70 years old and say, "I want to go into theater acting." Do it. You can be a painter and say, "You know what? I changed my mind. I want to go to school and be a doctor." Do it. Just
And that's the thing too, is
do
that
it.
not everything has to be set in stone.
No.
Just whatever, as long as you're taking care of your responsibilities, and uh, you're not just being selfish and
Right.
only taking your own motivations into account,
Right.
then I don't see a problem for just
I
going
agree.
out and doing what's best for you in that moment. And I feel like the right people around you will support you, and they won't try to shut you down. And because if they're you don't I mean, it's good to have people give you criticism, but I think that when it's in a way, I think we need to stop telling people that they can't do something. I think we need to just sort of encourage each other more.
That's more
Um,
important. Stop. I like that. I'm gonna take that from you. No,
go
stop saying I
for it,
can't.
man.
What do you mean I can't? No, that means a lot to me, because what we're saying is, and usually from like especially with me, and I've seen people that feel that they can't do it, then why are you trying it? And I'm not saying, like, I'm not pointing at any one person, but you just made a good point. Let's start saying I can, to help encourage people, because it'll make the world a better place. I can't change the world. I'm not a messiah, or I'm not this superhero, though I think I'm, kind of funny, but what I'm saying is, like, get behind people who are getting behind themselves. And I totally agree with what you said. So yeah, man. Thanks for asking about that.
Oh, of course, man. I try to just be very helpful and encouraging. And I'm glad that you came on the show. And
too.
this just going to be a platform for me to kind of help people, especially now that I found out you're kind of new to the area.
Sure.
I'm sure this is really kind of helping you keep your
I'm-
motivation, putting out some feelers. so
Yes,
that you
I'm
can-
very appreciative of you having me on the show. I didn't know if you would accept me. I'm glad you took the time. You did your homework, and yeah, and it's making me today. It's making me feel welcomed, and even with the musicians who are on board with me, I don't feel alone, and I feel that there's something behind this because every time that something happens good, there's something behind it that I can't put it to words, but it's the way I feel.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I'm
sort
very happy.
sort of your just sensing of your surroundings. Just kidding.
Sure.
That's really important too. So I hope you come across more good-natured people in the Dallas area. I know that there's quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
We're a pretty supportive community. I think everybody tries to support each other as much as we can. At least I hope so.
Well, that's all I've got.
I haven't come across too many musicians I didn't like. So
Yeah. No, even where I go eat. Shout out to BWs. You guys are rocking. Everyone there is supportive. Everybody around that bar. I'm not drinking. I'm having breakfast, by the way. They're so supportive. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to my man Robert, Nate, Hunter, Melody, Maricel, all the people that, like when I go walk in that door, they always ask me, "How are you doing?" And we heard your music, etc., etc., and a lot more there. All of you, Bryant, yeah, yeah, man.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
I think we hit our hour mark here.
Good.
So,
It was fun, man.
it-
Pizza time. No, just kidding.
where can people go if they want to hear your music?
Okay, so go to my website, freemoor.com, and you spell Freemoor, FREEMOOR.com, and navigate the page. If you go to the music section, you will hear previews of the album, bio, and all of my social media links are there. And please feel free to follow me, and I would appreciate your support and encouragement. And also, I'd like to say this last point. I'm playing next week at the Deep Ellum Art Company on January 29th, 6 p.m. I would say get there. And it's going to be a stone gasp.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Hickory Street Podcast, guys.
Thank you. If I could, I'd make you smile. And if I could, I'd walk on fire. And I'd save your life if I could. There's a glorious presence. There's a beautiful bond we could have had. But you've closed your eyes, you can't see. See, I don't understand when you try to close your mind. When it comes to me, all I ever wanted, baby, was to be the only one, just you and me. But I don't wanna take the blame, even though you told me to. a chosen few, a chosen few. And like your mama said, I was born to. If I could, I'd walk on fire, and you'd watch me